mechanical design, the blower versus a vacuum head,
Oh,
you
sure.
won't be able to pull as high a vacuum, but if you've got a huge hose, you'll get way higher airflow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're saying put a blower on, like a centrifugal blower on that
Yeah,
outlet,
yeah.
rather than a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I have I think I have a 3-horse 3-phase blower upstairs, and that's where I was headed. So yes, we're on the same page. The money will end up in the ball. Whether the ball collapses is Jim's problem.
So you won't be making enough to actually pay for the electric.
It's more fun with VFD on it.
You shouldn't be able to pull much pressure with a centrifugal blower.
Yeah. No.
Nothing less than $5.
Yes.
Nervous. The other interesting thing is that's routed polycarb. I don't know if Jim said that or not, but he's got his design down to do on the router now out of polycarbonate rather than acrylic. So although we haven't drop tested it, it appears to be very strong because we didn't break it. We're trying to assemble it. So that's got some other appeals, being able to do things now out of polycarb rather than out of acrylic.
So if you're using the router, you can even use an angled head so that when you bring the pieces together, the facets are.
Yeah, Jim.
Yes, you could.
You want to, Jim?
Or no, well, you have to get a custom bit or one.
For every single one.
The interface angle on the one is I made 90 degrees because it was easy, and the other one is 78 degrees. So yeah, you could shop around for a 78-degree angle bit, and then you could route the corners, and you would get a better fit for seal. Or you could just caulk them off.
We cocked it, but yeah.
Okay, silicone.
Maybe it's acrylic. Maybe it's acrylic caulk.
Yeah, it
took a while to
actually
dry,
stuck
but
pretty good.
fine.
So it did dry clear eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, we put it on there, it was white, and then it slowly, because it actually got air dry, so it took a while to clear up, but it seems to be
So the
well
caulk
within
just,
tolerance.
it holds itself together. The caulk will just make it airtight, or mostly airtight, so the vacuum works.
Yeah. Jim likes to point that out, the mechanical features of it. Yeah, otherwise, how long is your script now? It's like...
Oh, a couple thousand lines.
Yeah. So the point about the V, you're going to push him over the edge, Dennis.
No. The whole point of the joint is that you don't need to do, it just uses parallel cuts. And actually, through cuts, it doesn't use, partial cuts in the material. But the general idea is that you don't have to worry about 3D cutting. It is all the operations just a 2D description, regardless of the angle. Now, interestingly, the wider the angle it gets, the longer the tabs have to be because of the intersection. So it does have downsides to that, whereas if you could, if you said, I'll bevel my edges just like a carpenter would, obviously you can get a butt joint at that point. But the goal of this was just do a 2D description of a 3D object that allows you to make a 3D object. So in this case, there's only one triangle that we just cut out 60 times.
Did you model the entire 60-sided figure, or did you just kind of guess at this one?
I didn't bother to do that because we were on a tight time schedule to get it done.
But once you cut out 3 or 4, and you realized that you could just repeat that.
Yeah, the flip side is this one would be obviously the translations would be a little bit more math to do. Like you'd have to figure out what they all are to do, and I didn't want to bother doing that. I knew that if I had the geometry right, and I didn't do the geometry, I just looked it up on, there's calculators out there for all these shapes, right? That'll tell you, for an arbitrary shape, here's the edge angle, or the face angles, I guess it would be. I didn't bother doing the next piece, which would be figuring out where all those pieces would rotate around to. It would probably take a couple hours to do that. And then you could actually have a 3D visualization as well. I've done that for a lot of the other ones, but I didn't bother for this. What? Mostly because I figured I'm just going to route it out anyways, and it'll leave the worker alone. Chris was supplying the polycarb, so.
Charlie was supplying the polycarb.
Question about any issues routing the polycarb?
Interestingly, this was the first big thing I did out of it. And coming from doing all this stuff in the laser, you get used to the laser to a lot higher precision, and that Stinger has some issues with backlash.
Okay.
And the problem with that is the features on this that I'm using to fasten are a fraction of a millimeter. And I was actually cut out a lot of it with a 1.5 millimeter bit.
But it doesn't shatter at the point of when you dig into it with the router? Like,
No,
I just
it actually did pretty good. The only one I broke was if you get greedy and you don't, with the laser you can place things as tight as you want, because the laser doesn't care. With the router, you do need to leave a fairly big web between the parts. The only bit, and these are 1.5 millimeters, so it's a tiny bit. The only one I broke was when I got greedy and started placing things too close together. Basically trying to fit more on a single sheet than I should have. You do need to leave about a 1/4 inch minimum, closer to a 1/2 inch, probably preferred.
And so you're grinding, not
Well,
melting. So
Oh, it's cutting chips, yeah.
It's cutting chips. It's not like melting through the polycarb.
Oh, the poly, yeah. Now, interestingly, previously when I did polycarb on that, I got what I thought were the best carbide cutters you had. They were like $25 a piece, and those had issues. These are $150 Chinese cheap cutters, and I've only broke the one, and that was my fault. And that was, literally, if it loosens up, the thing starts shaking, and you can't blame it right there. These cut better than carbide for sure. They're just high-speed steel, and I haven't seen them getting dull.
They were a single flute cutter.
They're single flute high-speed steel, but literally they're Amazon's cheapest buy 10 for $16 cutters. So I assumed I would go through them all and then go, well, that was a dumb $16 purchase that I learned. I would use these in a heartbeat. I've cut now, with the 2 millimeter cutter, I've cut the equivalent of a sheet and a half. This is 4 millimeter of 4 by 8 sheets equivalent. So it run through a lot of plastic with one cutter. I haven't made one of the carbide ones last that long.
Were the carbide cutters a single flute design as well, or were they?
Yeah, that was an Onserd single flute with the supposedly great chip removal. And
we're using a vacuum too to hold it down. So it's fixtured on the machine with the vacuum, then you're cutting through into the spoil board. So you lose vacuum as you go, but assuming you don't take out too much, the chips kind of cover it. Okay.
yeah, no, I did do a few tricks with ordering the cut operations to do the detail first. So the problem is if you do a typical operation that says, oh, I know how to cut all this part, and it's almost too smart. It says, I'll cut all the inside out, and then I'll cut the part out, and then I'll go to the next part. And I reversed that operation and said, no, cut all the details that are critical first for the whole piece. So I wrote a short script to separate those out. And then I go through and cut the parts free. And what that got me is no shifting when I was doing the stuff that mattered. And then when I was cutting a part free, it was sort of a gross operation. So if it did shift a little bit at the end of the cut, it didn't really matter. So it was a good learning experience, and this was an opportunity to cut a bunch of stuff out and dial in the cut parameters. And then the other, as I said, the machine's got some lash, and unfortunately, the lash is on the order of the details I have. So I had to lie and tell the cutter was substantially smaller than it actually is to get it to remove enough material.
Yeah. And the backlash you're talking about is on the gear rack, and that it's on the order of like a sub-millimeter. It's really small for a wood router. That's like it's not a mill.
No, it's and the issue is, so if you say I want to put this piece in a slot with acrylic or polycarbonate, wood you might be able to say, oh, I can tap it in and the wood complies a little bit and goes, but a chunk of polycarb you can't just say, oh, I'll just jam it in the slot, it won't work. Acrylic, putting this together would have shattered, 40 times. The polycarb is great because you can apply a fair amount of force, but you can't have undersized things, so I just lied and cut them slightly larger than they should have been. And we're talking here, I think I opened it up by like 0.2 of a millimeter on the dimensions. So small things, but.
The other thing is he's routed acrylic, and that's been fine too. So if stuff's chipping out, it's usually because you're using the wrong. You need a single flute cutter because the router tool speed's way too high.
Yeah,
and then fixturing is really important.
Bad situation with power tools and polycarb. If you're running at a low RPM, bad.
Yeah, it'll grab and fling stuff, which is no fun to be on the receiving end.
You've got a vacuum table for sheets?
Yeah, for the smaller router.
Pulling it through MDF?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so you put a piece of MDF down, you suck the polycarb to the MDF, and then you can cut through it or cut around it.
So it looks a little small. How many dollars you're
It's a good question. I don't know. I know.
If that becomes an issue, we'll have enough money to make the next.
So that was part of the idea of the. You can do a secondary containment or a cyclone separator, basically, because we got tons of ceiling height, so it's not going to be a problem to hoist the 55-gallon drum up and really fill that sucker, but to put the one-way check valve on it just to make sure you can counter vacuum.
I don't know if wadding is the most effective stacking method. for
No,
both.
yeah, wadding's not. We'll have an unwater up there.
Yeah,
It'll,
he's gonna
it'll
get
flatten them
really
out,
awesome.
iron them out, and stack them.
We'll also face the bills and all
Yeah.
count them too.
I'm the poor bastard who's got to unwad them, so my encouragement of wadding them is going to be a deficiency on my side anyway. So.
You think you think if you go to a smooth straight tube, you still need a wad?
So the inside of this tube is, when it's pulled out, it's actually nice and smooth. It's right now it's corrugated because it's crunched up still, but it's actually pretty good that way. And the skin effect of the air flowing through keeps stuff off the edges, even if it is. I mean, it doesn't do a great job, but it doesn't really get snagged or anything. But, yeah.
You weren't able to find like a spiral tube that's clear?
There's totally. You can buy acrylic tubes and polycarb tubes, and in PVC they're clear PVC tubes. But the issue is they're like $50 a 10-footer or something.
Something pretty close.
Yeah, from a MasterCard. Like I got one. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Acrylic tube.
We understand we have a wire bender here, right?
Oh, just
Big
bend it, yeah.
And then like packing tape.
You'll just put a giant wired coil spring on the lathe and just spin it real slow while you're running packing tape up and down it. I like where we're going here. It's a good option.
It needs to be smooth on the inside though.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it could be interesting. So no, we can play around with it. Unfortunately, the way it'll be set up, it'll be easy to change around, or we can add courses to it until it goes all around the ceiling and then finally settles someplace. That'd be good. Maybe get some hamsters or something to run through too. Yes, Casey, I hesitate to ask.
Presentations that require the projector screen today?
We're not doing anything. Why? What's
I
up?
just thought it was kind of clever that we set that up, but we didn't have anything.
That's good. I didn't know what anybody's bringing.
Huh?
I said I don't know what anybody's bringing. On that note, Casey bought beer for everybody, so I think that's
Yeah,
the,
you drink
the
up,
meeting.
and I asked pictures as well. Big majority of it.
Pancake with lima.
Oh, nice job.
Very good.
I actually don't think nobody else had anything to present. Nobody's got any more snide comments for me? Got it, come on, we gotta have something. Alright.
What's that little guy?
The little router?
Yeah.
I had that, I forget who. We'll see if there's I will look at the code and talk to some people and see if there's an easy way to get it to service both floors, but my suspicion is that it's going to be a lot more work to try and do that than it will be to get another unit, sadly, but it's the way it goes. That's kind
build
of
a frame big enough you just stack them.
Well, I talked to Brian about that because we designed this frame. It's like humongous because it was all free steel. But his response was, "I wish I would have known that when we started." But I'm not sure that the footing. We'd have to do the load calcs on the footings that we poured to see if they're. I think they're plenty big, but it's hard to tell. So the roof is designed to bear weight anyway. We have excess capacity, so we can put it up on the roof. It just means we have to get a crane to put it in. So we do know one person with a crane, so I think we can.
Or you can just hang the Modines up there.
Yeah, it would work too.
They can't hang off the balcony?
Yeah, well, there are lots of. The balcony doesn't have enough depth of setback, and it's complicated. The reason the furnace is there is it's the only place we can put it aside from the roof. So, at any rate, who are you, Mr. Sean?
I'm Sean. I haven't been doing much around here lately because I'm trying to juggle 3 houses and get 2 of them sold.
Anybody need to buy a house? Talk to this guy.
Soon.
Soon.
Floor heating? Walking range?
Floor heating.
In, yeah.
Yeah. Brand new boiler tomorrow.
Oh. Joe, who are you?
Hi, I'm Joe.
What are you working on?
Oh yeah, I'm working on a computer desk for a friend. That was a bad idea.
The friend or the
Probably both. No, I owed the guy he let me crash his place for a while when I moved up here. So yeah, making them oak and walnut and ash mix laminate done. It's in pieces. It needs to be like really, really flammed up. So I'll be on the router this weekend trying to figure that out.
I got the dust collection working really good now. So
I'm gonna bring that Pathfinder with me just in case I get pissed off. I can make it work. So I work at Tormach, the milling machine over in the and the lathe now as well, the machine cut lab. So if you have any questions, you can always ask me. And I might get back to you. We're busy, but there's a question.
If you don't mind me asking, how long have you been at Stormont for?
I'm coming up on 3 years. That's the scary part. I'm a senior technical specialist now.
If you call over with customer complaints, you might get Joe, or questions, or help, or whatever else.
You'll get someone with a J name. You got Joe, John, Jason, Jenny, Jacob, and then there's Matt.
What's
Nobody likes that.
But it's actual people who run the machines, which is
That's for the county.
Nobody likes that.
good.
I'm Ben. I'm working on a bunch of things at home. So we'll see if anyone actually likes them. Walk out.
Casey, software engineer, have a wholesale business, have a college marketing company as well, and then I'm also starting a company. My buddy Jim over here, we are getting into some crazy stuff here, helping electricians pull cable through conduit back. So, yeah.
Gotta give a presentation.
One of these days we will.
Actually,
I gotta get a patent.
This is a little
I had an
bit-
electrician, he actually tried pushing the cable, and sometimes it made it all the way through, but more often than not it didn't. And then he'd have to
It's all about loop.
do the fish thing and pull it, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
Davi Post, do mostly software consulting.
I'm Dennis, also do software, work on fun LED projects in spare time that I
Got a new one coming up, Dennis.
But I actually picked up a new one, and if I ever finish it, I'll do a presentation. If I ever finish it.
Lima.
I'm Lima. I work on a little bit of a lot of things. I tend more towards art stuff than not a lot of good stuff because I work in software during the day and I don't love computers in my spare time. Been working on unpacking my metal studio at a new place.
I'm Mark. Don't know yet. I'll let you know when I figure it out. Alex, engineering background. I'm in a master's online program right now for design marketing management, and doing some tinkering here, helping out with Chris when I can. And actually, I did bring.
Oh, here it is. Now he's
Here
gonna.
we go. For a class last fall, I had to do a prototype branding, and I've given out a few to some friends with actually scars. So, who'd like to see them?
Are they branded?
You bring that from
Are they branded? Yeah, let's see.
Check this out.
Did you make
Really nice.
Did you make
Throw them in the crowd.
Wow. Did you make
So,
Did it?
Jim helped me stamp the leather, well, laser cut a piece to stamp the leather and then stitch it. And I drew the design up, and a woman had actually sewn them for me. I picked out the colors, but there's like a little button, and you like snap it down.
So let's see.
Yeah.
You taking donations for him, Alex?
What's that?
So you taking donations for him?
Don't, yeah, you gotta put it.
We gotta put it. Oh, we gotta pack it up. We can test
Fritz?
it all out. Fritz, go get her the hat.
Keep your
I'll
head
take one
down.
We're gonna have to start wearing shoulders.
And what did you?
Yeah, I'm in the first year. I got one more year left in this program. So first year was branding, and now I'm in graphic design.
Can you explain a little better what you did to make the leather stamps?
Yeah.
Yes, so it was a reverse text laser cut out of a hardwood because using the press kind of crushed the wood pretty quick, and then it turned out it was better to wet the leather first and then leave it pressed and then held in. And then actually use this guy right here, which himself to sew the tag right onto it, and after that it's plug and play.
So we tried a few different ways of impressioning leather, and pressing really hard with a 20-ton press, it does break the wood if you push a little too hard. But
Yes.
if you give it a
But
little
a
bit of time,
hardwood's
it's compliant.
just enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it worked out fine. We were looking at making metal ones or otherwise, which have been a lot more work than just etching on a laser, especially for detailed stuff. So it worked out pretty good. Kind of like running the etching press for doing paper, same kind of thing.
You use type metal, letter press.
Oh, yeah, I suppose it did. We did, but sure it did. Sounds good. All right, Jim, where are you?
I'm Jim. I'm making polycarbonate polyhedral if anyone needs like large. I think like the long D&D dice, but only. I get a set of those.
We're actually talking. Oh man, I'll wait till I get to the paint. the lawn unit he does. It's on Richard.
Richard, I have Glass One Studio over by the old sector.
The new apartments.
Huh?
The new apartments over by the new apartments.
Yeah, and they started putting up the circus space.
Oh, okay.
So I do a lot of different things. Glass blind, letterpress, woodworking. I need to pour some Babbitt bearings if anybody knows anything about that.
You even know what a Babbitt bearing is?
What?
Babbitt bearings?
What? Why would you want those?
Some antique flap wheels, right? Wheels for flattening glass. And the Babbitts and the Babbitt bearings in them. And they need to be recast.
I would almost just replace them with something else, but I mean that's.
Well, I think it's going to be easier just to recast the Babbitts.
That depends.
I just have never done it before.
it's fun. I don't recommend it. So I've been there, done that. So yeah.
Sounds like Quiz Joe later. You can find out all about it.
Well,
I know
they say
one
he has
person.
some ideas.
I know one person who might know how to do that, so I can bug him. Who's next?
I'm Kyle. I'm an electrical engineer. I love making circuit boards. Don't quite like programming them as much. So if there's any embedded programmers out there who love programming, hit me up. I got tons of custom hardware. But, my most recent project, I'm working on a magnetic levitation model train.
Cool. But you need someone to code it.
How fast does it go?
Oh, I would
Turn them
love
on,
to have
turn them
somebody
off.
code it.
Turn them off, it just sits out. Make it look like Doc Brown's car from Back to the Future.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
But not the car, the train. The Jules
The
Verne
motor,
thing.
yeah.
Too many restrictions on
Yeah, that's
That's
just thinking
sweet.
if the air friction gets too high, you know. I mean, when you hit like 300 miles an hour on the maglev train.
Oh yeah, in my basement, yeah, right.
Like,
One time, that's when you put it in a vacuum tube. Is it scale?
It's gonna be a monorail. It's gonna be a monorail. The town could use a monorail. That's it. Anyways.
I'm Nate. This is first meeting. Been enjoying Chris's harassment as I tore some face in the wood shop, but kind of new to Madison. I work remotely for Adobe, so I don't know if anybody wants
Customer complaints. He wants customer complaints about Adobe.
or whatever. That's my contribution to space for taking up time on the table.
Get rid of the yellow layer in basement.
You guys can stay out of hell off on that one if I were you. Inkscape. He works for Inkscape. All of your Inkscape complaints is very popular. See, we're not going to think about it as worse.
Anyways, that's what I'm doing here. Primarily wood.
He's building a very fancy bookshelf. That's been with all of the most complicated geometric joints.
Well, like joinery, I'm trying to do it all while my toddler son is sleeping. So short periods of time.
I'm Eric. I'm primarily a software guy, but I like doing a bit of hardware dabbling. I've been working on an aquarium controller. I hope to share with you all. I'm not.
Saltwater or freshwater?
Freshwater tank, yeah. And decided I actually wanted to build a controller, so I needed an aquarium. So I got the aquarium, and it gave me all kinds of things to monitor and automate. And I learned how to.
When you want to do the fancy LED lights on the top, I presented those last year.
That's part of it, is actually controlling the light spectrum and all that stuff. Well, that's future work. Yeah, I've got lots of cool things to share. I hope, and I'm looking for feedback as to whether or not it can be maybe of interest to other people. I'm at the point now where I want to either finish, move on, or extend. Cool.
What does extend mean? Like more? Like thousands of them? Millions?
Well, just build it kind of like, I use the word, but a platform. So I kind of solved it in a really generic way.
Cool.
That's the way I kind of approach problems. And so I was like, well, this could be good for aquarium controller, but it could be used for general environmental sensing and that kind of thing. So I don't know if I want to take it that direction and make it like a whole general purpose ESP firmware, or if it's just good enough doing what it's doing.
And I'm Fritz. I'm kind of a jack off of a few trades, but been around for a while.
Charlie, you want to follow that?
I'm not gonna say it. No, I'm Charlie. I do industrial design, a lot of weird CNC stuff. Occasionally get piles of scrap materials and plexiglass to donate, and spend most of my time these days modeling grocery stores and convenience stores and blender, so we can make blender.
Blender questions, bring them. Yeah, it's
Kevin, I'm an IT security consultant, do a lot of software stuff. Don't really have any projects here right now because all my projects are at home, but I have a couple of ideas to bring to you here. I actually need to talk to you about work at home.
My name's Nick. I was an aerodynamicist and aerospace engineer for about 30 years. Now by day I'm a solar consultant. I design solar PV systems for people. And in my own time I work on a lot of bike projects. I've got a lot of home-built bikes, and right now I'm redoing the electrical system in my Belmobile. It's kind of a pedal car, but it's got horn and turn signals and all that stuff. And I get a lot of help this week from people on making the turn signals work well. I'm going to bring it in. I've had this thing apart for months. I'm going to bring it in tomorrow and try to get it done in the next few days. It's a great bike for riding around in cold weather.
Plastic? What's the whole?
Well, the body's fiberglass. It's kind of a unibody shell. It's got a bit of a subframe inside it. Most of the shell carries the load.
You've had this around the east side neighborhood last year?
Yeah, I got it in September.
I've seen you out.
It was probably me.
I don't think there were two of those.
There have been over 1,000 of them built. They're made in the Netherlands, and there are 3 of them in Wisconsin.
Dennis, lights.
Probably
I mean,
more than you thought.
it's got the nice tube effect. You could do this. Weight might be an issue, but who needs turn signals when you just make the whole back?
Audie's doing the single row sequential thing. Actually, I think the law changed to do that because the law says if you have sequential turn signals, each segment actually has to be a minimum area and brightness. But when you have like 300 LEDs in a row or even 100, they don't meet that. So they have to get the legislation changed so they can do a little like animation on their taillights. They shipped in Europe, full of Europe before they shipped in the US because of that. We had to run like crippled software here. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Broken software here that made them go like big, and then they put out there and made it animate. But you can do those.
And so I have to maintain my
If it's still bright, who cares?
I don't want to blind people to the right
It worked too well.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot.
To finish my taillights first.
Yeah. Thanks.
Brian, you wanna?
My name's Brian. I'm an engineer in like IoT type of things, LoRa-based technologies right now, at least several couple months. And I do camera work here as well, and fix printers and scanners as well. Yep, the printer. Yep.
Arcade. How's the arcade?
Oh, the
going?
arcade. So
SNES.
The SNES is getting closer. I was able to run a Mario Kart, but the joystick didn't work. Like the buttons.
Can you show us how it works on the big screen?
Nope. Well, I could. Yeah, I guess I could play with that. But that's my recent project around here is a generalized arcade machine. But I don't want MDF based enclosures.
We can't have a standard arcade console.
No. That's boring. So.
Got a couple new folks in there.
Yeah, we're just doing intros. So.
I'm Anna. I guess this is my first meeting. I'm a student at EW studying civil engineering. And I guess my project I'm going to be working on one would be I want to powder coat my bike because it's just this old, like silvery 1970s color. So that'll be kind of my project that I'll work on.
Yeah, I'm also a student at EW, computer engineering. I'm Chase. Yeah, I'm a bike mechanic. So any bike questions, feel free to shoot this way. But also I have a lot of beater cars that break a lot, so you'll probably see me here in those.
So who was here last time when I talked about the garden? Remember the garden discussion? Okay, so those of you who are not here, we build a garden out in the terrace. Turns out you can't build a garden out in the terrace, apparently. So, some angst about the garden. Thank you, Sean. So, we applied our $750 application to be able to put the garden back in the terrace, which then we then pay $500 a year to keep the garden in the terrace there afterwards, forever. We don't pay taxes though, so as far as I'm concerned, we have $10,000 worth of like screw-off money from now going forward forever. That's not paying the tax base for the city that we can give them anyways, just to do entertaining things like put a garden in. So anyway, I've been waiting for 3 months now since we applied, and we still have not heard back on anything except for I've just gotten a note from someone in the mayor's office who's supposed to be helping us coordinate all these things. That apparently someone else is supposed to have reached out to me a month ago about a neighborhood meeting to approve the garden to go out in the terrace. So that's our next step. We're many of you live in like the surrounding 3 blocks. You may be asked to show up to a meeting, probably here, to vouch support that it'd be a useful place to put a garden out in the terrace. So that's our updated current steps that I'm sure everyone's enjoying. So what's great is that in order to have a neighborhood meeting, you have to postcard out to everyone in like the surrounding multi-block radius, which will cost us like another $170 to do all the postage for everything. So yeah, postage.
So you just go drop them off in the mailbox?
It's got to be verified by the city, which apparently is U.S. mail. So it's all got to be sent out. So that's our current step. Our next step. We should put a liquor license on as an ask. I don't see what really the difference in steps is. It's about the same amount of money and about the same amount of steps. So.
What else can you ask for?
Yeah, while we're at it, just run down the list.
It looks like you should put the other end of that tube.
Just send it over. So anyway, nonetheless, that's where the garden's at. That was the D20 dice reference. So Jim and I were discussing building a little free library that's actually a greenhouse on a stick, and then putting like one book in the front, and the whole back is all plants. It's a little free library. It's just a different format. That's all. We just went a different route. So we could have some fun with that. And he's got the icosahedron thing figured out, so maybe we can just go bigger.
300 little libraries.
If only we can find some more polycarb sheets that are perhaps discarded in small pieces. But at any rate, that's where we are with things. So like I said, I'll at some point spam an update, but it's looking like we're approaching having a neighborhood meeting at some point whenever the city sorts out exactly.
What is the outcome of it? What if like one person shows up and says we don't want it?
I think that's why we have to make sure a lot of people show up that say, why couldn't you do that? So.
But is there a vote? I mean, is it democracy?
It's,
or is it like
it's like
when they're like, hey, I don't think you have to go to somebody.
Yeah, wait, do we actually have to be in the neighborhood to come to the meeting?
I think you have to get one of the postcards, but I don't know.
Act like
Just go around to door and hand out little plants. Yeah, let us know when the postcards go out. We'll go around the block and come out this
Not helping.
Yeah. Well, no, but honestly, like, what's the action from something like that?
So the action is basically if the number of complaints trickle up high enough, then they would actually, like, the city would then have to say, like, well, no, we had too many complaints about it.
So that's when we go around and complain about everybody else's garden.
Well, we don't want to get to that, but that's where we're headed. Basically, is to demonstrate that this process is completely ludicrous in a public press sense, but we're not to the point yet where we've coalesced around. First, we should get it approved, because if you don't get it approved and then you call the press ahead of time, it either makes it a lot easier or a lot harder. So we'd rather have it not be a lot harder. But once we have it sorted out, the next step is to essentially show that it's completely insane to have a nonprofit pay nearly $900 to find out that it's okay to put a garden in front of their building and then pay $500 thereafter to literally grow food. Like that's a totally insane thing.
Can
So.
you plant weeds if they don't approve it?
There is actually in the city statute, which I know very well, you cannot have any invasive species, and you can't have. You can do traditional prairie grass, which is our next step, is to tear out all of the terra, because I don't like to mow. That's the whole thing we're trying to do, is avoid mowing. And I will be replacing at a fair amount of cost with all this with a. It actually has to stay dirt for like the first year. It'll just be dirt because the prairie grass takes 3 years to sprout. It's going to be great. We're going to have just dirt terrace. It's going to be spectacular. And that is actually a supported use of the terrace spaces to have prairie grass. But you can only have it in certain areas, certain heights. So we'll literally have like a stepped away from the driveway aprons and other things. So yeah,
Is there a lawnmower on a lift that
it'll be
Maybe
entertaining.
you can spell something.
Drones.
Oh, I think we can spell something for the city. I think there's lots of things we can spell. 4-letter words specifically, but we decide. Maybe binary. You can put a binary notes up there. That's so fun. We will need the robotic lawnmower though to set the designated heights as we need
I'll
that.
work on that.
So at any rate, that's where that's at. So I think that's it for our more traditional meeting process is like 7-minute presentations, not me up here yammering at things. So this is probably more entertaining. So it's good. Maybe next month we'll have more things to share. It'll be fun. We are in the middle of the winter doldrums. Hopefully it's a little warmer too. So at any rate, if anybody wants to show around or a tour, if you come up here, I can show you sort of where things are, what's here, or where we're at on construction and things, and maybe suck you into coming to help. We are slowly working on things, but I haven't spammed out any emails lately, just because we haven't had anything that needs like a bunch of people. It's been more dealing with the city on trying to put a garden out in front and things like that, which are a little less fun to do. But we did get half the heater frame outside, and I'm looking forward to getting this other half put together and outside, which now means there's actually space in the welding shop, which is handy to have. So I'm going to get some of this stuff in the hallway back in the welding shop and go from there. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Hang out, drink some beers, or eat the rest of Lima's wonderful cake. And yeah, see you next month.